Hey guys, it's Friday, it's hashtag Ask Lauren. All right, I've gone down to posting Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's a little bit of a relief. Thanks for supporting me. A lot of you said, do whatever makes you happy, and that is essentially what you have to do all of the time. And I'm glad that I listened to myself. Fridays is still always gonna be Ask Lauren, hashtag Ask Lauren, and I got a question from Valery Co. What advice would you give to your younger self when you're just about to kickstart with career, life, passions, and pursuing those types of things? Thanks for inspiring. Not only is it what I would tell myself as a young kid, which I'll address, but I think also some advice you could just take at any stage in your life when you're sort of reassessing or feeling lost or feeling like, what am I doing with my life? What is even happening right now? I go through that all of the time, even though I'm very sure about what I'm doing for the most part. We all have our unsure moments as well. So what I would tell my younger self is, I don't know that I would really change much, and I only say that obviously in hindsight, knowing everything kind of worked out, but I've addressed this before about resistance. It's like you want something, but then you don't expect that you're gonna get it, or you expect that the journey to it is going to be hard. And so it all comes back to the same thing I talk about law of attraction and manifestation, which is you put up your own resistance. And so even if you say you want something, or I really want this and I really want this dream job, if you're thinking from a place of, but I'll never get it, or I really want it, I really want it, I really want it, and you're not really like letting it go, sort of keeping that non-resistant state of mind, then it's going to take you a really long time to get there, or it's not going to be as smooth sailing as you would like it to be and as you hoped it would be, but you really weren't thinking it was going to be, so that's why you didn't get what you asked for. And it's very hard to differentiate what you want versus what you're actually doing and what you're actually practicing. And so when I was younger, I've told you this in another video that I'll link to here called Do What You Love, which you should watch because it'll go into more depth about figuring out what your passions are and stuff. But when I was younger, I talked about how I visualized. And so I was doing something right there. I was visualizing myself working in television, envisioning my life as a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old, and envisioning working a career and being successful in all these things. But I know, and I only know this in hindsight, that I did hold a lot of thoughts and limiting patterns, that thinking that, oh, but I don't deserve that, or why would anyone choose me? This is gonna be so hard to get there, or this is an impossible job to attain, how am I gonna get there? And so a lot of that made the road to me doing what I wanted more difficult than what I wanted it to be. And only now, at the age that I am and with the experience I have, do I realize like, oh, I could have just asked for it to be easy, or I could have just expected the job and expected the path to be easy, and then I would receive that. But I basically would just tell my younger self to sort of let go, stop resisting. It's gonna happen. And I can say in hindsight it happened, but it will happen if you just give up the resistance. It's true. And one thing that I kept hearing today in the clip I was listening to, reiterated over and over again, is this whole idea of ask for what you want, expect it to happen, and focus on that it's happened. Like as soon as you ask for something, it's there. Now who's the one that's gonna allow you to get there quick and easy and the way you want? You or the universe? You're standing in your own way. The universe already gave it to you. It gave you the idea that you wanted it. It gave you that desire that you wanted. It's already there. So you just have to get there with the way your mind is going to work. So I would inform my younger self about that stuff because I didn't understand that when I was younger and I didn't know about that. And while I may have been practicing visualization and or daydreaming, and I did have a pretty good sense of self-confidence, and I did have, for the most part, a sense that I knew it would happen, there was still a lot of limiting thoughts on the way there that kept putting those bumps in the road. I just thought life was the way it was. And when you grow up in circumstances where, now I think I've mentioned this before, it's not that I was like not privileged at all, but I identified as like poor, and I identified as somebody who couldn't get what they wanted because of the circumstances I was born into. It's really hard to break down those sorts of limiting patterns because that's who you are. That's how you've identified yourself. And it's a slow chipping away of trying to recognize that that's not who you are, that you're telling yourself and reinforcing this story of who you are. So you really got to be super on top of everything you say and think, because everything you say and think is going to come true whether you like it or not. And that is 100% true. And I know from looking back on my life that it's true. And I know from things I'm doing now differently that it's true. And I'm really just trying to diligently practice that to the positive effect, to manifest the things that I want. And it's hard for us to adjust our thinking because we're thinking, but how am I just supposed to drop what I'm doing where I'm making money and go over here and start painting, or go over here and start dog walking, or go over here and start cake decorating, or go over here and start being a TV host, or go over here and start whatever it is you want to do that you think is impossible. First of all, you need to get rid of the thought that you think it's impossible. That's the main thing standing in your way. I know that might be hard to hear. It might be hard to swallow if I go, you're thinking the wrong thing and you need to stop thinking that. But really, like, you need to just stop thinking that whatever it is you want to do in life is unattainable, because it's not unattainable. You've thought of it, and so it must exist somewhere. So how are you going to line up and catch it and make it happen? And secondly, no matter what circumstance you're in, let's say you work a crappy job, you're waiting tables, you're doing whatever it is you might not want to be actually doing, and you have this other dream and idea of what it is you do want to be doing, then you need to do that thing that you love whenever you can, when you're not at that crappy job that you don't like. And you need to put away all the negative energy around, I hate my job and I don't like my life and I don't like going to work every day. And I've been there. I completely get it. I've had those jobs. I've told you this in another video as well, where I used to just wake up and go, I would rather be dead right now than go to this job. And that is the worst thing you could ever say. Don't ever say that. I've said that, and it only gets worse the more you keep saying that. So you somehow know that you're a capable person, because somewhere at some point in time you may have been doing something you really liked, and then you feel like, well, what happened? Why am I not doing that anymore? At the end of the day, there was something that you were thinking that probably created the circumstances you're in, but it's okay, because you can quickly reverse that whole thing just as easily as you got into it. You have to start doing what it is you do love doing and what it is you want to be your life in small ways here and there with the time that you have outside of the job you don't like. And so I know that you do get into this cycle and this pit of negativity of, I don't like my job and I don't like this, and I'm too lazy and I don't want to do these other things. Now I have no energy or motivation to want to do something that I love. I get that too. When I was younger, it was listening to music that motivated me. But now that I'm older, that doesn't really motivate me. I have to listen to these podcasts. I have to go on YouTube and listen to somebody speak about the law of attraction, or read a book and get motivated that way. And literally in the last week, I've been listening to Abraham every morning when I wake up. So it's not even like I'm meditating right now. I'm actually just waking up and listening to these words that really are getting me tapped in and really are motivating me for the rest of the day, and reminding me like, oh yeah, that's what it feels like to feel good and do something that I like to do. Oh yeah, and that's how shitty I feel when I do that thing I don't want to do, or I feel obligated to do, that isn't in line with what my actual path is. And the more that you practice knowing what those two feelings and the difference between them, you'll start to understand that while you might think that feeling down in the dumps and sorry for yourself feels good, you'll quickly realize it does not feel good. And I'm super guilty of being that person that like defaults to being angry, defaults to being pissed off and feisty and whatnot, and I think that that's good and that's productive for me, and I get on a roll about it and I start being that way. And I think from the outside in going, yeah, this feels good. Yeah, this is how I want to be. I want to be this feisty person that gets mad at stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then when I realize when I'm not doing that, and when I really am in a good place, and it could even just be a fleeting moment, but when I'm doing something I really enjoy and I feel like maybe I'm not even really there, like I'm channeling some type of energy, creative energy, like whether it be I'm making a recipe or taking a photograph of food, those are the times when I really feel like, ooh, like really centered and really like nothing else can touch me. And that's when I've recognized, okay, that's when I feel good. So I have to try and feel that way more more often than not. And how am I going to do that? For right now, I'm going to listen to Abraham on YouTube, but 2 months ago it was I'm going to meditate every morning for 30 minutes, for 15 minutes, and that was helping, and then it wasn't helping. And so I found a new thing to do. So even if you have a routine that you're used to, break that routine if it's not working for you, and follow your heart to what you do think might help you. I didn't plan what I was going to say when I turned this camera on, but I hope that some of what I've said has helped you. Unfortunately, I'm just a product of what I listen to, and because I've been listening to a lot of this Abraham stuff, that's how I'm sounding, but I'm really just trying to practice it, and I'm trying to let it stick into all the wires of my brain so that there's no doubting that this is how the world works, that this is like the rule of life. And over the last, 2.5 years, I've been trying to practice and trying to remember thoughts become things, so think the good ones, which is by what Mike Dooley says. And I've read his books and everything. And yet it's still just like, forgot that is a thing, started getting in this negative pit, blah, 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 blah. Then I gotta go back to the book and read it again, or I gotta go online and read a blog about it, or whatever. And right now that thing is, I need to listen to Abraham so that I can subconsciously absorb all this information and just know it. And then there isn't even doubt. I don't even have doubt. It's just in the heat of the moment when I default to what I used to do, or how I used to react to things, that's when I forget that I'm not creating in alignment, and I'm not creating, and I'm not living in the flow of what is supposed to be my life and my true path. I actually think that the advice I would give my younger self is probably helpful to students who maybe have just entered college and university this month, and you're probably feeling super, super confused about life, and maybe you took the thing that you don't even want to take, and your parents or your teacher or your friends convinced you somehow to go take that program that you have absolutely no interest in because they said you're going to make $100,000 salary, you're going to be with your friends during college, blah, 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 blah. And here you are sitting in res going, this isn't what I really want. That's okay. But for the love of God and the universe and Buddha, you're gonna have to start moving toward what it is you do want. Stop listening to what everybody else is telling you to do. And do not let your parents, teachers, or your friends influence what it is you're going to do in post-secondary school and what it is you're going to go on to do as a job and a career. Because if you listen to them and you don't listen to yourself, you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to like what you're doing, and you're going to fail, and you're going to get bad grades, or you're going to find some other outlet like drugs and alcohol or any of these other things in which to funnel your frustration into. And you need to follow what it is you want to do, and nobody else knows better than you. F everybody else, honest to God. Don't listen to anybody else. Nobody knows. And for the rest of your life, and you've already experienced this, is that everyone and their mother's going to tell you what's best for you all the time. My friends now will continue to say stuff to me that drives me crazy, and I don't tell them that, but I go, I don't care what they said. I'm going to go do this other thing. Because everyone has the best intentions for you. Everyone has the best intentions. They want the best for you. But they don't know you, and they don't know your soul, and they don't know your life path. So you can't listen to that crap. No matter how good it might sound, no matter how promising it might sound, no matter how intelligent this person who's telling you something actually is, only you know what you need to do. So at the end of the day, just listen to yourself. And if you are enrolled in a program you don't like right now, maybe wait it through till next semester, but if you don't like it, change it. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Of course, I'm not your parents and you're not having this conversation with me, but who cares? You have to still do what's right for you. And you maybe need to explain that to them the way I just explained it to you, if that's the case. So anyway, I got off on a bit of a rant there, but I did want to mention that thing about going away to school and doing what you love for a living and enrolling in classes and whatnot, that it has to come down to what it is you want. Nobody else knows what you want or understands what you need in life, so there. All right, leave questions for #AskLauren in the comments below, please. Thank you so much. We are now almost at 2,100 subscribers. Woo, 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 woo. Thanks so much for watching. I like posting 3 days a week, so that's the way it's gonna be now. But still leave comments and I will chat to you, and we'll see you later.